December 20th, 1968. A young couple pulls their car off the road near Herman Lake, California, seeking privacy on their first date together. 16-year-old Betty Lou Jensen and 17-year-old David Faraday had no idea they were being followed. The moment they parked near Lake Herman, a strange car approached from behind. A figure emerged and ordered them out of their vehicle. When they refused, he fired a warning shot at their rear wheel. Terrified, David and Betty scrambled out and ran. The stranger opened fire. David was shot in the head. Betty took 5 bullets to her back. Within moments, the killer vanished into the night. This horrifying incident marked the beginning of one of the most infamous serial killer hunts in American history. Welcome to the terrifying world of the Zodiac Killer. The Zodiac Killer remains one of the most frightening serial killers of the 20th century. Throughout the 1960s and 70s, he terrorized San Francisco with his brutal attacks. He would send letters to newspapers and police, proudly detailing his murders and including puzzles for them to solve. After his first 2 murders, he remained silent for 6 months. Then he struck again. July 4th, 1969, Independence Day in America. 18-year-old Darlene Ferrin and 16-year-old Michael Mageau drove out to buy fireworks. They noticed a strange car following them. Trying to lose their pursuer, they turned into the parking lot at Blue Rock Springs Park, but the stranger followed them in. He pulled alongside their car, then reversed and drove away. Darlene and Michael breathed a sigh of relief, but their relief
what is he doing?
lasted only moments. No. The car returned, this time blocking their exit and parking behind them. A man got out, holding a powerful flashlight, which he shined directly into their faces. At first, they thought it might be a police officer. Then he opened fire. Bullets tore through the car. The shooter jumped back into his vehicle and sped away. Darlene died at the scene. Michael survived, badly wounded. 3 children nearby heard the shots and called the police. Michael had seen the killer's face, allowing police to create a composite sketch. The most shocking part of this attack came later that same night. At 12:40 a.m., the Vallejo Police Department received a call from a stranger using a phone booth. He hung up before speaking. This was the Zodiac Killer's first phone contact with police. About a month later, on August 1st, 1969, the Zodiac sent letters to 3 different newspapers. In these letters, he claimed responsibility for the Lake Herman murders and the Independence Day killing at Blue Rock Springs Park. To prove his identity, he revealed details only the police knew, such as which bullets were fired, how many shots hit the victims, and what clothes they were wearing. Along with the letters, the Zodiac included an encoded message. He demanded it be published in the newspapers the next day, or he would kill again. The encoded cipher was sent to intelligence agencies for decoding, but initially they couldn't crack it. After the cipher was published in newspapers, a couple from San Francisco solved it that very same day. The message read, "I like killing people because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest, because man is the most dangerous animal of all." In the cipher, he also wrote that he believed in the afterlife, and that everyone he killed would become his slaves in the next life. After the newspaper letters, there was silence for 2 months. Then the Zodiac appeared again with a new case. September 27th, 1969. A college couple was having a picnic by the shore of Lake Berryessa. Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard noticed a man approaching them. He wore a black hood with the Zodiac symbol on it. As he got closer, the Zodiac pulled out a gun and demanded money and car keys. Brian had 75 cents, which he handed over along with his car keys. Then the killer returned the car keys and, at gunpoint, tied both their hands with rope. He pulled out a knife and stabbed them repeatedly. Believing they were both dead, the Zodiac walked back to their car, wrote a message on it listing the location, date, time, and weapon used, then fled the scene. A nearby fisherman found the couple still breathing and got them to a hospital. Cecilia succumbed to her wounds and died. Brian survived and gave police a detailed account of what happened. Just like his previous murders, the Zodiac called police that same night at 7:40 p.m. and gave them all the murder details. Police noticed a specific pattern in the Zodiac's actions. First, he only targeted young couples. Second, his attacks happened on weekends or near holidays. Third, he attacked either in darkness or at dusk when light was fading. Fourth, he proudly bragged about each murder as if challenging authorities. Fifth, most murders took place at well-known dating spots. Sixth, most murders involved cars. And seventh, most murders occurred near water. These 7 patterns suggested that the Zodiac was either disappointed in love or harbored a special hatred for women, since in 2 of the 3 attacks, the male victims survived. However, police had no idea that the Zodiac's next target would break this pattern completely. Just 2 weeks after the previous murder, on October 11, 1969, the Zodiac flagged down a cab driver named Paul Stein at 9:30 p.m. and asked to be taken to Maple Street in Presidio Heights. When the driver reached the destination, the Zodiac waited for the car to stop, then shot Paul Stein at point-blank range. The killer then moved to the front passenger seat and cut a piece of Paul's shirt, taking it with him. During this murder, 2 children on the 2nd floor of a nearby building witnessed the entire scene. They immediately called the police. Officers rushed to Maple Street and along the way encountered the Zodiac, walking through light fog. Because police were looking for a black suspect, they didn't suspect this man since he wasn't black. Police stopped and asked him if he'd seen anything unusual in the area. The Zodiac told them a man with a gun had gone down the next street. In their haste, police rushed in that direction. If the officers had gotten out to examine him closely, they would have noticed blood stains on his jacket. Once again, the Zodiac had escaped from police. But this time, police recovered the Zodiac's fingerprints from Paul Stein's cab. A few days later, the Zodiac wrote more letters to newspapers, describing Paul Stein's murder in exact detail and including a piece of Paul's shirt as proof. This time, he threatened to attack a school bus. This threat sent waves of fear throughout the entire area, and police followed school buses for weeks. But no attack on a school bus ever occurred. Using descriptions from the children who saw him, police created a fresh sketch of the Zodiac and distributed it to all taxi drivers. But this time, the Zodiac entered the arena with a new strategy. Exactly 10 days after killing the taxi driver on October 22, 1969, the Zodiac called the Oakland Police Department saying he wanted to speak with Melvin Belli, a famous lawyer at the time, on a TV show. This was Channel 7's talk show, which started earlier than scheduled that day. After waiting a while, the Zodiac called but hung up. When he called the next time, the call lasted longer. During the show, he called 35 times, with only 12 calls making it on air. The caller identified himself as Sam. Throughout the calls, the lawyer asked questions, and Sam gave evasive answers. Later, it was discovered this wasn't actually the Zodiac calling, because people who had heard the Zodiac's real voice said this wasn't him. Investigation revealed the calls came from a mental patient at Napa State Hospital. A few weeks after the TV show drama, newspapers received 2 more letters from the Zodiac. Between these letters was an encoded cipher he wanted published in newspapers again. The first cipher had been cracked in 1 day. This new one was far more difficult and remained unsolved for the next 50 years. In 2020, 3 code breakers used computer software to decode this cipher. In it, the Zodiac revealed nothing about himself, nor gave any important clues. He only confirmed that the caller on the TV talk show wasn't him. However, in the letter he sent to the newspaper editor along with the cipher, police finally found a clue. This time he was threatening police, saying he had built a bomb that was sitting in his basement. In this multi-page letter, this was the only useful piece of information. If he was telling the truth, this meant the Zodiac didn't live in an apartment but in a house with a basement. At that time, basements weren't very common in the Bay Area. This meant the Zodiac didn't live in the Bay Area. By mentioning a basement in his home, perhaps the Zodiac had made a mistake. 5 months after these letters, on March 22, 1970, The Zodiac attempted to kidnap a woman named Kathleen Johns on Highway 132. Fortunately, she managed to escape. When police showed Kathleen the Zodiac's sketch, she immediately recognized him. Over the next 4 years, the Zodiac continued sending letters and ciphers. In some, he detailed murders, in others, he wrote movie reviews. In one letter, he even gave the location of a bomb, but police found no bomb at that location, nor did any explosion ever occur. His last letter was received on January 30th, 1974. In it, he wrote his murder score like this: Me 37 SFPD 0, meaning I've committed 37 murders while the San Francisco Police Department score is 0. But police maintained that the Zodiac was exaggerating his numbers. The actual count of murders done in his method was only 5. Police and other law enforcement agencies like the CIA, after deep research into the Zodiac's behavior and killing methods, concluded that the Zodiac was no ordinary person but had military-grade knowledge. Footprints found at crime scenes came from wing-walker shoes, which are normally sold at military stores. Additionally, his experience with cryptology and ciphers might have been acquired during military service. Because the Zodiac Killer had created such fear throughout America and was receiving considerable attention, many people falsely claimed to be the Zodiac to get attention themselves. This made the police's search for the real Zodiac even more difficult. Initially, police suspected a man named Arthur Lee Allen. Considerable evidence pointed to Arthur. First, he had a military background. Second, police found a watch in his possession with Zodiac written on it and the logo on it as well. But neither Arthur's handwriting nor his fingerprints matched the Zodiac. After spending many years in police custody, he died in 1992. Police's second suspect was a man named Richard Gaikowski because his appearance resembled the Zodiac. But besides that, his handwriting and fingerprints didn't match the Zodiac. Similarly, police questioned a total of 50 people on suspicion, but none of them was a criminal whose entire profile matched the Zodiac. Although this case received tremendous fame, the Zodiac Killer's true identity remains a mystery to this day. Who was the Zodiac? Why did he murder so many people? And beyond the life after death story, what was his real motive? These questions remain unanswered. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed this story. See you in the next one.